Welcome to Core Cutting today for June 11th, 2019. This is the show where I give you a quick look at some of the biggest stories happening in the world of core cutting right now. If you want to learn more about these stories, in the show notes down below, I'll put a link to each story. You can read about them for yourself. Come up with your own opinions. I'd love to hear from you. If you're new here, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up. Hopefully we can help you break free from the high cost of cable TV and still watch the shows you enjoy. Well, we are still on traveling for this week, so hope you enjoyed the beautiful scenery behind us up here in northern Michigan. It is finally a little warmer, so let's dive into the core cutting news of the day. First up, a quick deal. Amazon does have their 50-inch 4K HDR TVs from Insignia on sale for $299.99 for Father's Day. It's been a sale that's been coming on and off recently, but it's a pretty good deal if you want a Fire TV Edition smart TV, which is a smart TV with a Fire TV built into it, very similar to the Roku TVs. Put a link to this one down in the show notes down below. Alright, and also to go with that, we've continued our series of guides that Jess has been writing. Excellent quality there. And this one's about what is a Fire TV. She breaks down everything you need to know about a Fire TV for people who may be new to core cutting, maybe just thinking about getting into it, and are kind of wondering what a Fire TV is and what they can get with a Fire TV. So I have a link to that down in the show notes down below if you're interested. Alright, first story of the day. Pluto TV just added a 24/7 classic Doctor Who episodes and antique roadshows, that I believe the UK version from what I'm seeing here, from the BBC. Now, this is part of a deal that was announced back in April, I believe, that would bring a ton of BBC content to Pluto TV. Nearly 1,000 episodes and over 700 hours of programming are coming to Pluto TV. Now, the Doctor Who is called a pop-up channel with 200 episodes of beloved series. Probably means this is not a permanent addition to Pluto TV, but a short-term addition to Pluto TV. So take advantage of it when you can. So keep that in mind. And the Antique Roadshow, they say there's over 300 episodes of the Antique Roadshow available, and there'll be more coming. Primeval, Robin Hood, and more are also part of this deal. And at the time of my recording this, I did not see them on demand or live on Pluto TV. Maybe they'll come later. Maybe we'll rotate, Doctor Who now, Robin Hood later, etc. But if you're a fan of BBC content, you're looking for a 100% way to watch it, Pluto TV's out there. And again, it goes back to my argument. If you haven't checked out any of the free streaming services recently, Pluto TV, Zumo, Crackle, Tubi, the Roku channel, really give it another try because the quality of their content has gone way up. And I'd love to hear from you. Do you have a favorite channel on Pluto TV? Is there something there you would really recommend people check out? I've been very impressed with the Viacom content that was added. I've been very impressed with their other partnerships with CNN being added, all the different news options they have with BBC Studios being added. So I'd love to hear from you. Any particular channel on Pluto TV you would recommend? If you haven't tried it, recommend you check it out. Alright, next story of the day. The FCC has announced a second round of funding for rural American internet. They plan to spend $166.8 million to bring high-speed internet to over 60,000 homes in 22 states. Now, they're using the I'll have to find it, Universal Service Fund. Now, a Universal Service Fund was created when home phone was rolling out to the United States. And the same problems we have with internet existed with home phone. It was extremely expensive for a very low return of profit to go over and get a home phone to rural America. Well, now we're seeing that with internet. So they're taking that fund that was created for home phone and repurposing it for internet. Now that home phone is pretty much universal in most parts of rural America. I know it's probably not 100%, but it is pretty universal. Why is this needed? Well, if you wire a mile in an average city, you could sign up dozens, if not hundreds, of customers if you're doing an apartment complex, for example. But in rural America, you may have to go miles to wire one customer. A lot of people don't really realize it, that compared to most countries, the United States is an extremely rural area. Yes, we have extremely populated areas. Chicago, New York, and even many mid-sized towns are very populated by the understanding of most of the world. But you go into Wyoming and Montana and Iowa, you get into some of these farm areas, ranch areas, and you can go miles and miles between finding anything. So keep that in mind, that that's the reason why they're getting subsidies. And we had to do the same thing for home phones. So this isn't exactly new. Now the issue here, some people point to, is, well, Amazon and SpaceX are launching satellite systems that would cover rural America without needing the FCC support. Those are still untried systems, and the goal here would be competition, right? If you subsidize either DSL to improve their systems or cable to roll it out into more rural areas, now you have cable DSL plus or satellite service from places like Amazon and SpaceX to compete there. So very cool, very interesting story here. This is on top of the $116.6 million that was announced back in April, I believe, if I remember right. So, and their overall goal is to spend, is to bring high-speed internet to 20 million Americans that do not have it right now. That's pretty cool. And, you know, I really love the idea here. There are other companies participating in this push, Microsoft being another big one. They've been spending a lot to bring high-speed internet to rural America. Amazon too. Facebook has even been looking at this because bringing internet to them helps their business. And the FCC is hoping by offsetting this cost, they can close the rural divide. Do you live in a rural area? Do you suffer from having bad internet? I'll love to hear from you. All right, next story up of the day. Set TV owners have reportedly stopped responding to the court in the lawsuit against them. So Ace, which is a huge collection of media companies, last year sued Set TV, which was an IPTV service and maybe one of the largest, had over 100,000 subscribers at the time they were shut down. But they were sued by Amazon, Netflix, Disney, 20th Century Fox, Sony, Columbia, Universal, Warner Brothers. I think there may be more, I'm not sure, but at least those, for, quote, committing mass piracy, basically. Now, Dish won a lawsuit last year that gave them ownership of the Set TV domain name, and we'll talk about that in a minute, and $90 million judgment. Well, earlier this year, the lawyer for Set TV asked to be removed from the case, was granted due to non-payment issues, and now they are basically, the owners of the site and an employee have not responded to the court. They were ordered to get, or told to get a new legal representative. They have not, according to this report at the time of posting, to the best of our knowledge. And they were ordered, in the discovery phase, they were requested for deposition to be interviewed by the legal team for Ace, which represents all those firms there. And according to reports, they have not responded to requests for deposition. So Ace is asking for them to be found in default basic, or I'm not going to try to get into the legal terms, but basically Ace is asking for a ruling that they're not cooperating, to layman's terms, which would likely set them up for a default judgment from the court against Set TV if they don't. Now, they could still reappear and try to defend themselves, but at this time they're not. Now, as always with these services, I always heard that, hey, Set TV, okay, if we get shut down, it'll go somewhere else. That's not necessarily the case anymore, because we're seeing a growing trend of companies suing subscribers of the services. Dish may be one of the ones leading the way. Dish and Bell have a partnership with a website called SatScams, which is run by Nagristar. I'm hoping I pronounce it. Nagristar is a joint venture between Dish and Bell in Canada, and they've been around a long time. They've mostly been known for going after people who sell those receivers that allow you to get pirated access to Dish signals, right? You pay this one low fee, you get this little card that'll allow you to get a pirated feed of Dish satellite reception. Now, though, they're targeting IPTV customers. And one of the ones that was mentioned in their testimonial section was Rocket IPTV, one I wasn't very familiar with. Apparently, they somehow got the list of customers there and are going after them. Well, Dish in their lawsuit, one owner of that ship of the IP of the domain name for Set TV now points to this website that goes after people. They also accept payment there, and they have a whole section explaining what they do when it comes to how they contact you and so on. Now, first, they demand a payment. According to their website, if you're just streaming the content, they want $3,500. Though they're willing to go down, I'll explain in a minute. If you're caught selling, they want $7,500. They say if you do not respond, that you may be referred to their legal team for basically legal, I'm guessing a lawsuit is kind of legalese term they've used there. But they do say they are willing to negotiate. First, they're willing to do a payment plan. Second, if you turn over your equipment, such as streaming devices, can lower your cost. And if you're willing to hand over your login and information so they can log into your account and probably help build a case against the people doing the service, they may be willing to lower your monthly fees or your bill here. Now, this is a pretty common tactic we saw back in the Napsters and when BitTorrent was very popular, and now they're bringing it to streaming. There's always been the argument that, oh, well, if these streaming services shut down, I'll just go somewhere else. Well, increasingly, that may not be the case. And one of the interesting things here is Vader, after Set TV shut down, was probably the biggest one of these. Well, Vader mysteriously shut down recently and said they will do what they can to protect their subscribers' data. And on this website, satscams.com, they have a big post about Vader shutting down, which makes you wonder if they had anything to do with that shutdown, especially since they don't talk about many of the other services that have shut down recently. Now, with Vader down, they have a mention there, which could explain why Vader said they were going to try to protect their customers' data. Because maybe Dish, through their satscams.com website, was going after them, trying to get their hands on the subscribers of Vader so that they could go after them in a similar way to Rocket IPTV. Now, that does not mean necessarily that they got that information, but it is a red flag. I always tell people, you know, you're adults. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but remember the dangers of these services. And now it really looks like they're trying to take a book out of the Napster days, out of the BitTorrent days, to go after these people who actually use the service, to put a scare into them, frankly, in order to try to slow down the usage of it. Now, it was fairly successful over time with BitTorrent. It was fairly successful over time with Napster, on top of going after the creator of Napsters, but it did put the fear into a lot of people. Thing to remember is you may or may not get caught. The downside is if you do get caught, could be dangerous. So keep this all in mind. It seems like, I don't know how they're getting it, but it seems like they may be able to get the subscriber list once they take over some of these services. So just be careful and remember that if you want to use pirated services, that's fine. We don't promote it here, but just know your danger when you do it. It'll be very interesting to see if other companies follow in Dish's footsteps. If we start seeing Comcast and Spectrum and all these other companies launching ventures like this, or maybe joining up with Dish on their venture to go after not only the companies that like Set TV who sell IPTV services, but people who use them as well. It is a major issue within the industry. If you think about it, at the time Set TV shut down, it had more subscribers than Fubo TV did, and it probably had an aggressive number of subscribers compared to what at the time Hulu had for live TV. So it will be very interesting to see what happens. The particular story I have right in front of me does not have the number of subscribers, but at $20 a pop, 100,000 subscribers every single month is a lot of money. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Well, I'd love to hear your thoughts on these stories. I'd love to know, have you ever received a letter from this satscams.com website and their joint venture run by Bell and Dish? Have heard from a few people so far that yes, they have received notifications from them for piracy. So I'd love to hear from you, most particularly which services were you using that resulted you in getting this notification. So leave me a comment, let me know. I'm not a lawyer. Contact a lawyer if you need a lawyer. I'd love to talk to you. All right, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you enjoy this beautiful view behind me. Hopefully we can do the Q&A here tomorrow. Weather may be a little iffy, but we will be here doing a cord cutting Q&A Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I will be back tomorrow for a cord cutting daily, and I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope it's restful, relaxful, or a productive one, whatever you may be doing. We'll see you tomorrow.